weather too, which is our Doppler, we might be able to loop this and actually be able to kind of see how it's moving off in time. And there you can see it. You see the motion is off from the northwest to the southeast. It went from basically Ashburnham to Fitchburg, and this is it. This is where it is. And I would say right in here, right in here is really probably where the craziest wind is, right in here, because this is really the hook part. So that's what we're dealing with. You can have hail all the way out in here to all the way back in here with the torrential rains when you have a cell like this. Now remember, we're zoomed in, so it looks like this huge cell. We're not going to widen out because we want to focus on the local area, but basically if we widened out, you'd see in the bigger scheme of things in terms of like the state of Massachusetts, it's small. But if you're located in this area and you're anywhere from Ashburnham to Fitchburg, then we're talking about very serious stuff. And once again, more than following us, it's more important for you to go to the lowest level of your home, away from anything exterior, windows, doors, away from the roof, meaning the top level. That's the safest place you can be. Obviously, depending on the intensity of a potential tornado, determines how much damage can actually be done. And once again, you don't often see this look at that lightning, this three-dimensional nature, okay, curving up like that with this particular cell. So hail markers all over the place, lightning all over the place, very tall storms, radar continuing to indicate rotation at the base of the clouds, meaning we're dealing with a possible tornado and certainly at the minimal an extremely severe thunderstorm. Severe thunderstorms, as you know, often can have microbursts. They can cause very significant damage in and of themselves. So it's pretty safe to say there's a certain amount of wind damage going on, could even be some hail damage with this. And then we have all the lightning going on and the torrential rain, which can cause, of course, localized flooding as well. Again, this is going to stay into effect, the tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. The severe thunderstorm warning is staying in effect until 8:15 p.m. We'll turn it back over to, I think, JC and Heather for a moment. I'm going to go back and look at some very late information.
All right, Harvey, thank you. JC, one of the things that, first we want to point out that normally you would be watching Chronicle at this hour.
Yes.
And JC has a great show on lighthouses that will be coming your way, but obviously this is preempting it right now because of the importance of it.
Yeah, I'm glad I was here. Absolutely.
One of the dangers with tornadic activity is that the temptation is to run to the window and look out because you want to see that funnel cloud.
Right.
But when these storms are wrapped in rain, it's almost impossible sometimes to see the actual funnel cloud itself. And as Harvey was saying, those winds themselves that are near it can really be damaging. So that's the worst thing you can do is try to see it.
Right, you don't actually have to be in the exact path of the tornado to see damage. No question about it. And I put the roads on around the Fitchburg area just to get a sense. So right now it looks like the strongest, most severe part of the storm right now, Franklin Road, I would stay off of 2A, absolutely. Summer Street over to 2A that extends down towards Route 2, Route 12 as well. And again, we're talking about that hook that's generated just to the northwest of Route 12 that we're watching, but we have some intense reflection. So there is probably hail falling right over downtown Fitchburg at this time. And notice, as you talked about those magenta colors, Heather, how it's spreading towards Fitchburg and now is heading down towards Route 2. So if you're on Route 2 or you're heading out, now's the time to head home. And this is moving, and I think it's roughly 30 miles an hour or so. So this is moving fairly rapidly as it's heading through the Fitchburg area, but you want to stay away from the windows, as you said, stay away from temptation to try to see what's going on. Go ahead. Are
the folks in Ashburnham just about in the clear now?
Yes, yes. This is headed to the southeast at this point. So Ashburnham, you are out of the worst of this. The tornado warning remains in effect until 7:45.
10 minutes from now.
10 minutes from now. But that's, Leominster right now, you need to watch out. This storm is also, of course, producing hail. The 3D radar is doing a great job of showing that those are lightning strikes. So look at how often and frequently these are popping up. We're getting reports of hail in these as well. And I know Harvey has more information as well on this. Harv?
Yeah, because we're keeping up to date, of course, minute by minute when you're dealing with weather like this. So this has just really come out. The tornado warning is staying in effect until 7:45 p.m. Still, as of this moment, radar continues to indicate a tornado, at least in terms of rotation. This has been located near Leominster now, or 6 miles west of Fitchburg. It's moving southeast in this direction at 25 miles per hour. Other locations are not limited to Leominster, of course. It depends if this continues to stay on the ground. But remember, it's also capable of producing golf ball size hail, and even if not tornadic, damaging straight line winds, which means most likely a microburst, if not a tornado. So it's a very dangerous storm. Again, this is a three-dimensional look The taller these storms are, the more severe they are. You see all the white continuing. That is the virtually continuous lightning that's going on. By the way, if you hear anything, a roar, a lot of people talk about that when a tornado comes through, anything like a jet plane or a freight train or anything like that. That's serious stuff, to be sure. It is serious in any event. Lowest level of your home, away from anything exterior, doors, windows, away from the highest level, away from the roof. And if anything, you want to be under something sturdy at the lowest level of your home, interior. That's the best that you could do when these storms are taking place. Here, once again, you can see now, here's Fitchburg. And again, here you can see where we're talking about. We still have this hook shape to this particular storm, which means it's a possible tornado. Actually, we're seeing a couple of these. It's kind of hard to say because it's this whole very strong thunderstorm complex, but we have possible hook action here. We have possibly some here. So very strong cells. We are seeing the magenta color, the deepest color, is indicating the very heaviest precipitation. Most likely there is hail and possibly as high as golf ball size hail involved with this. And here you're seeing exactly where it is with Fitchburg. And again, the center is moving off to the east-southeast with time. So this is going to stay in effect until 7:45 p.m., which is only about 8 minutes from now. Everything has to be assessed as time goes on to see if the warning has to be continued. It's pretty clear a severe thunderstorm warning is going to be continuing. But again, here we see one area that's hook-like. And of course, here we have all the heavy reflectivity. So we've got a very, very strong, powerful thunderstorm that may be tornadic, that again has gone from Gardner to about Fitchburg. As you can see, now it's moving south, and Leominster now is just about ready to start getting some of the serious torrential rains and possible hail, the continuous lightning, the damaging winds with this cell as it continues to move off to the south and to the east with time. That's the latest that we have. Again, Heather is here, JC is here. We're all here until this threat passes, until the tornado warning is lifted. That's not going to happen until at least 7:45 p.m., which is about 7 minutes from now. I'll see if Heather and JC have anything additional for the moment.
JC, as we look at that radar, and let's pop it back up again here,
Sure.
and we're talking about obviously the more southeastern parts of Fitchburg being under the gun. Is the northern side out of danger now, or could there still pop up some real strong activity
Well,
there?
of course, we'll watch for any development on the back side of this storm, but what we're focusing on now certainly is what's moving from Fitchburg into Leominster. So yes, if the storm has passed at this point, a deep breath, and you can just monitor the coverage from here. And as you can see, and Harv, if you can widen out this picture so that we can see the bottom part of the storm where we have the strongest portion of the cell, it is headed towards Leominster. And again, Route 2, now it's 7:38, and so most of the evening commute hopefully is over, but certainly Leominster Center now is where we're going to focus. And just back to the northwest from there, there's that other cell that we'll be carefully monitoring that's just moving through the western part of Fitchburg, just to the east of Gardner. You can see that storm is moving to the south. If we go to the other weather computer, just a reminder of some of the safety things moving to the lowest level of your building. If you don't have a basement, Heather, you had some good ideas of where you can head.
Bathtub and an interior closet. You want something towards the center of the home, away from all of the exterior walls.
And windows, certainly. I know the kids get excited sometimes, or perhaps
absolutely.
you're a weather not, and you want to go see this, and I just got to tell you, wait for the photos after, because this is not the time. Wait till we get some, some of our radars will show you what happened. And get out of your vehicle. If for some reason someone's phoning you right now, or you want to go call somebody who this is a good time when cell phones come in handy, and hopefully they'll take heed and get off the roads and head someplace indoors, go get a bite at a restaurant, whatever it takes, but don't be in that car. Traveling, I think, Route 2 right now, Fitchburg, Leominster is just not the place to be.
I think probably if a lot of you are dealing with hail at this point, you're hearing a lot of loud noises. It can almost make it sound like your home is going to come apart when hail is that large.
You've experienced that in Oklahoma.
Almost golf ball size hail, and it's a very menacing sound, like the home is just going to blow. And of course, it's not going to.
Right.
But just some things that you might expect. If you start to hear that noise, like enormous rocks are coming down, that's hailstones, and this too will pass. But again, it speaks to the intensity of the storm and the danger that it brings with it.
Oftentimes you hear people who have been through tornadoes say it sounds like a freight train.
Yeah.
And it has that high-pitched, almost whistle sound. And again, now is the time to head to the basement. I think if you are in Leominster, even if you're in Harvard, you can see the trajectory is heading a little bit more to the south, but still I'd say anywhere along Harvard as well, now's the time to get indoors and again, find that safety place for yourself.
I wanted to ask you, JC, because once the sun is gone, and it may be now, I don't know what time sunset is this evening?
A little after 8.
A little after 8. So we got about 20 more minutes. Those temperatures will drop rapidly, and won't these start to fall apart in theory?
In theory, but the temperatures this time of season and with the humidity we have, they don't fall the same way they do in, let's say, you know, spring, when you can get that cool, dry air and the temperatures start to fall and we lose some of the dynamics. Although what I'm liking here, if you look at this last frame, we've lost a lot of the magenta. Watch what happens with these bright pinks, and then over Leominster, it's starting to reduce. So that's actually a really good sign. I like seeing that. I also don't see the hook quite as sharply as we did before. It's coming more in a straight line. That doesn't mean that you're not getting strong straight line winds, and as you mentioned, frequent hail coming down, so it's still damaging, but hopefully what we're seeing is the end to the rotation and the possible tornado. So that's what we want to see happen in the next 15 minutes.
Tornado warning in effect for another just a little over 4 minutes now, unless it gets extended, and they certainly have a history of doing that when there is a threat in the area.
We'll have National Weather Service will be any minute now deciding whether or not they can still see rotation. Remember, this is not ground truth, as we call it. That means we haven't actually spotted a funnel cloud. This is radar rotation. So we are seeing